Hello there, this is Kaos Nova here, and we are talking about the state of porting the Fallout games on macOS using Coder's crossover. Now, to get a little introduction on the roots of the Fallout game series, at first there was a game known as Wasteland by Electronic Arts or EA Games. Now, that Wasteland right there. Eventually, there was a spiritual succession, and now the Wasteland games initially Fallout was a spiritual successor by Interplay and then eventually by Bethesda. But eventually Wasteland, as you can see here, diverged into a separate series of its own identity. And so Fallout and Wasteland are officially separate franchises. But Fallout, initially under Interplay, was top-down isometric view games and famous for the world similar to Mad Max or in somewhat that takes some inspiration from Planet of the Apes, of Boyne's Dog, and others, but the world after nuclear war. And this is set in the United States primarily, although there is a mod being made independently for Fallout 4 called Fallout London, where you get to go see what happened in the UK after the nuclear conflict of 2077. And so Fallout as a game has been pretty popular. It has plenty of dark humor, very sick and twisted humor. Some people have said it's similar to Coen Brothers, although I'm not sure I've seen them. And Galaxy News is another reference that comes up later in Fallout 3. And now I have my own opinions on the Fallout games, but that is not the point of what we're doing today. Today, we're going to be going on how to get them working on macOS, and it's going to be great. And the first question that comes to mind is, okay, how is it working for the first Interplay Fallout games using Coder's crossover? Well, unfortunately, the news for that is not that great for the time being, although it could get better. So, initially, there are some issues, and I'm going to show you briefly what some of those issues actually are regarding Fallout 1 and 2, or the Interplay Fallout games, not including Fallout Tactics, but we're going to just take a little look. So in the case of Fallout 1 and 2, these are the GOG.com versions. GOG.com is a game server run by CD Projekt Red. It's well known for being able to download the installers for a game and run them DRM-free. No disk identity, you just have to buy them online with CD Projekt Red using GOG.com, and then you can get the installer and get it running. So for now, I haven't yet gotten Fallout 4, but the tests here of the GOG.com versions of Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. And we're going to take a look at how that works out. So we're going to try starting Fallout 1, and the same error happens in Fallout 2. And of course, please on macOS ask you about security, but you're going to try to start it. Now there's an error with this component. It hasn't been resolved yet, but you'll see how the libraries work. Now here we're going to talk about Fallout 3, and there's a technique I'm going to be showing for this when we get it running that will work. But just for a little introduction, Fallout 3 was Bethesda's first Fallout game, and it's where Fallout became a first-person shooter type of arrangement, or a first-person RPG. There are opinions on it, some obviously not so good, and some that are great, but it did so well. And this is just an example of how Bethesda wanted to show retrofuturism, how the world of the future would be anticipated or visioned to appear in the 1950s or 1960s. And this idea of retrofuturism, Bethesda had their own interpretation of it. In the original games, it was a way of saying, hey, look, we're using a retro setting to show you that that's the world that is dead. That is the world that was destroyed by the nuclear weapons. Bethesda has their own way on it, and to be fair to Bethesda to a degree, there are certain people who like to relive the retro world. And there are probably going to be some people who want to live the world in a retro fashion, try to restore what was lost. And Obviously, it's corny as can be, but it's an homage to the old Duck and Cover cartoons for the Fallout shelters in this case. And this is the trailer for Fallout 3. And this is the world, and this is where you get to see the world in the trailer about how, oh my, it's no longer the world that you had before the bombs. Fallout 3 is set 200 years after the bombs happened, and it's more of the leaving the vault, and it's a soft reboot of what you got in Fallout 1. It's back to being a person who leaves the vault. I have my own opinions once again about how they executed Fallout 3, but that's for another story. Today is here. I'm going to talk about how we get it going, and to get it going, there's a procedure on Bethesda games known as what I like to nickname Bethesda audio restoration. So there's going to be some files we're going to have to restore in order to get this game running well, and we're going to see how that works. Alright, now here's the trick. You first need to get the installation running in Crossover, which means you choose Fallout 3. Now we're going to make some changes here, and we're going to have to go to the installer because we're not using the Steam version. This is going to rather be the GOG.com version of Fallout 3. So we go to there, we find the installer, set up Fallout 3 executable, and then we do installation that way using Windows 7 32-bit. I'm not going to show you the full part because we're going to go ahead to the audio override part, which is how you get it started and running. And that will be coming up pretty soon. In the meantime, and yeah, here's the GOG.com installer at work here. So you finally say OK, because if English is your language, otherwise you select the other one. And now you get started. So you accept the EULA, end user license agreement, and now you get started installing. Now I'm going to skip ahead, coming up soon, but in the meantime I want to recommend a few other channels. Coweavers has their channel here on YouTube, and they have their own tutorials. Another one I want to recommend is Andrew Tsai. He has plenty of good tips for getting Crossover running as well. So aside from me, there's other places you can go. As good as I am, I can't do everything, but there are other places you can go, and Andrew Tsai and Coweavers or other channels you can go to for advice and tech tips regarding getting Crossover. Alright, so now I'm skipping ahead, going to skip ahead here to the end of the installation just to show you how it finishes and to make sure you don't mess up on this last part. It's one of those times where you're going to be tempted to possibly throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Don't. It's going to have a part where it says this installation step did not finish, but do not cancel the installation. So I'm going to go into this with the advent of as you get a few minutes later and it shows this error message. This is how you do it. Skip this step. Do not hit cancel. Alright, now the installation will complete just fine because you said skip this step. As you can see, all the icons are there. The GOG.com installation is complete. Now we're going to talk about the audio override that gets the audio running smoothly. And now I call this the Bethesda audio override because it works on Bethesda games, not just Fallout 3, but Oblivion or the other Elder Scrolls games as well. So here we have to go into Wine Configuration. Now we go into there, we're going to select the Libraries tab, and we're going to copy and paste the following words I have as a note file. So we're going to take a look at the note file and copy them because these override files are there. You just have to tell the virtual machine to read them and accept them. So we're going into the override files and bam. So you do that one. The AUD files, because they're needed to get the audio drivers running smoothly. So you have to do each of these, copy all 4 of them, and that should be it. So this works for Bethesda RPGs. It works for Fallout 3. It works for Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Skyrim 2. It makes the game much more functional. So don't forget those. And now we're going to boot up the game and let it run to see how well it works. Alright, now for the launcher, which is what you see right there, you just choose your best graphics options that fit with your machine. In this case, 1900 by 1980 by 1020 works for me. You can also do 1440 by 900. It just depends on what your display is. So you got to look up your About This Mac and see what your native display for your monitor is. So that's what mine is, but for you it just depends on when it works. You can also ask for the launcher to do optimal. So now I'm going into a save game of what I've already started playing, but I can start to, but this obviously goes to show that it doesn't just start the game from scratch, it even reads older games that I was playing while porting this when before this game became less compatible with crossover. So it gets even better. This is retroactive as a solution. So this compatibility is back, even though I lost compatibility for almost a year. It's great. It's excellent. All right. So yeah, this is the firing mission. It's not too long at the beginning, but once again, it's an example about how the saved game, saved in the documents folder on my computer from earlier when it was compatible, still work, and it's great. Otherwise, this game starts with a part about you being born. But otherwise, this is what we have for now. We have Fallout 3, and testing will begin on Fallout 4 when I get a hold of a copy of that. In the meantime, I'm going to say that, yeah, Fallout 1 and 2 are in limbo, but later on, we will have more of these Fallout games most likely compatible. And the great thing is there's been many improvements with the DirectX updates to the Covius crossover for porting the virtual machine. It's been great, especially with version 23, and now we're on 23.7. So in the meantime, I look forward to continuing more of these tutorials episodes for getting people to see, okay, hey, we can get this working on a Covius crossover if you just know the specifics. And by all means, I'm just going to encourage you, in my audience, if you can, come join the forums. There's plenty of room on the forums for someone like you who uses Covius crossover. If you don't know much, you can at least get some help from people like myself and others. In fact, that's how I got the audio override for Bethesda games. I got it from another forum member, just like me, who explained and showed in the tips section that, hey, you could go get the audio working on Oblivion. It's an Elder Scrolls game by Bethesda as well, but this is why I called it the Bethesda audio override, because that same audio override technique, I tested it for Fallout 3 and it works just as well. So there are losses and there are gains. I'm going to be testing Fallout 4 once I get that going. In the meantime, my next test is going to be on Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I'm going to show you how the similar override technique works with that game as well. The audio override that I told you about, and many other issues with graphics are being fixed in that game. And previously, it wasn't a working condition. Covius crossover 23 and especially 23.7 have been pretty generous to us regarding how it gets it all working. So, in the meantime, I just want to wish you the best, and I'm going to conclude with my own round of credits and how you can support my channel. It's been great on the ride with you, my audience, and I hope you're all having a wonderful time. We're in a great time for Covius crossover and porting in general. And you can catch on to more as I do future episodes on it. So meantime, here's my concluding credits and words and my sponsors.
Hi everyone, Kaos Nova here, and I just want to show some basics on my channel here. I've got some recommended channel. This is introduction. I have a nice introduction for those who are visiting my channel homepage for the first time. Just explain the ins and outs. I have a couple of extra places here on my channel. I have my merchandise store for you to check it out. I'm just updating it. It's just some fun merchandise. T-shirts, shoes, cups, mouse pads, cell phone stickers, coffee mugs, etc. Nice little place. Also, something for showcasing episodes is you can reach me on my Facebook page. Send me a Facebook message and include, let's just say showcase contributions, and have a link of that video. When you do, follow me on Facebook too. I've got some nice things there. Also, I've got Instagram for just showing some jokes and memes and announcements such as Tron Ares happening and other pop culture things that I view. So I recommend the Instagram page. And I also have a Rumble. My Rumble channel is mostly focused on doing hobby stuff, and some things are not found on YouTube, but they are found on my Rumble, so I recommend checking out the Rumble channel. And that should conclude it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I am going to be signing off. Hi everyone, Kaos Nova here, and this is the ending of the video presentation on Kaos Tutorials. And here's the deal: if you want to see more of my tutorials on getting your old games to work on Mac, and you want to see more tutorials on how to do various other tasks, such as very cheap ways to make YouTube videos that still look decent, and much more, feel free to subscribe. And if you want to be among the first to get each video, hit the notifications. And please, if you enjoy liking this, your vote still counts, so please click the like with a big thumbs up. All right, you have a wonderful day, and I'll be signing off.